My name is Mahan, and
I'm Diaz.
We work
Nice
with
to meet you
causes, and we're really happy to be here. Thanks for being here and having us join you today. We're gonna take about 25 minutes to share with you the secret sauce of social media fundraising, and it turns out that there is no silver bullet. There isn't really a secret sauce. It's good old-fashioned hard work and actually applying a lot of the lessons that you already all know from what you do effectively offline. And I think you'll see as a theme in our presentation today that a lot of what nonprofit organizations have done effectively for decades translates into what works effectively online. So we're going to start with, that didn't show up right either, but we're going to start with a little bit of background on Causes. So Causes launched about 5 years ago as an application on Facebook, and was really launched with the belief that anyone can change the world, and anyone can have power to have a positive impact in the world, primarily through their ability to bring together friends and family and like-minded people and take collective action. And that by having small actions aggregate together into larger movements, that ordinary people can be a part of something bigger than themselves and can create meaningful change in the world. And the response to that has just been tremendous. About 25% of Facebook users have installed the application. We've since actually had to move to causes.com because we couldn't actually build all of the functionality for nonprofits and other organizers that we wanted within the application. And so we've moved to causes.com, but have all the same integration points with the Facebook platform. And those 175 million people who have joined Causes have between them created about 500,000 communities. And these are communities that range in size and issue area. Many of them support a specific 501c3, and they want to get something done in the world. And they do all sorts of things. They rally people to take action, whether it's petitioning, whether it's students petitioning their principal to have recycling bins in the cafeteria, or it's the Nature Conservancy setting aside thousands of acres of the Amazon. They really are rooted in the passion and the care of individuals on Facebook who want to come together with other people who have the same goals to take small actions that bubble up into something larger. And so we're going to take one of those cause communities that we've been really excited to watch. It was started by a guy named Eric Ding. He's the taller one. And we're going to tell you the story of how he started a cause a few years ago and grew it into a movement for social change. We like this story because we think that it illustrates, for one, what's possible when a passionate individual who started with really nothing, just an idea, was able to use social media and implement a lot of the best practices of essentially what is offline grassroots organizing or community organizing. Shows what's possible when an individual uses those tools and those practices to change the world. And I think many of you who work at nonprofits probably know what it's like to be passionate and not have a lot of resources at your fingertips. As we go through the story, that was unintentional. As we go through the story, Anne is going to give you the general lesson for what this means for any nonprofit. Eric was a medical school student at Harvard University who, in his first year as a med school student, went home and was talking with family and friends about everything he had learned, and had this realization that what he knew about cancer and about cancer prevention and treatment was so far ahead of what all of his family and friends and other people in his hometown knew. And these were people who wanted to know, had a thirst for this knowledge, really wanted to understand how to prevent cancer and what the best treatments were, and wanted to connect with other survivors. And by virtue of being at this top research school, he had the opportunity to really have access to all that information in a way that other people didn't. And that disconnect between what he and his classmates knew and all of these other people who dealt with cancer on a daily basis and wanted access to great information, that gap between what he knew and they knew really frustrated him. And so he went back to school with this idea that I have to figure out how to connect the people who I work with and learn from on a daily basis with this incredible information that can actually make the average person's life better.
Essentially, Eric's cause community and the nonprofit that he ended up forming as a result of all of the people that he mobilized, it really is the story of how any nonprofit is formed. If you think about the history of your organization, it's likely that your founder had some kind of sense of how the world should be. They saw an inequity, they saw a solution that nobody else saw, and they wanted to gather people together to change that. And if you're not the founder, maybe you are, If you're not, you likely came to that nonprofit because you had the same vision for the world. You had the same conviction and commitment to wanting to really implement that change. And if you think about your online community in the same sort of way, a really good way to start building up a presence through social media, even through your website, is to think about your origin story. How you started, what brought you to the organization, what is the thing that you're really trying to do? And I know this sounds in a lot of ways very, very, very basic. I think it's easy, though, to get caught up in the technology and to forget about the story and the reason why you're there. So think like Eric when you start working on a social media campaign or presence. It's really helpful to begin your journey by thinking like a community organizer.